What's up, everybody? Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on Cheesehead TV, where we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. That's why we sit out here after training camp practice and talk to you fine folks on our live chat. Hello to everyone who's already joining in, and to those of you who are just joining us, thank you so much for making us part of your Packers daily routine, your weekly routine, however you decide to consume content around the team. We want to be here for you. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans, not only here on the ground, but worldwide. You guys can't be in Green Bay. That's why we're here. We're bringing it to you. The Packers wrapping up the second day with the Houston Texans. And to judge by Aaron Rodgers in the locker room, he's happy to see the back of him. Aaron's short but sweet answer when asked his overall take, feelings now that the 2 days have come and gone with the Texans, he said, and I quote, "I'm glad it's over." End quote. Rodgers was a bit surly at his locker today. Clearly pretty unhappy with the entire affair. But now they have a day off from the practice field, and they'll still be in meetings and stuff tomorrow. And then Thursday night, right here in this here building, they'll be taking on the Houston Texans in the first preseason game. No official word yet, but it does sound like Aaron Rodgers will not play in that game. So get ready for the full Deshaun Kaiser experience. Hello, everybody in the chat. What's up? CKM starting us off with Rashawn Gary going to have a starting role on the defense come regular season. I think intermittently, and it really kind of depends on what their game plan is. I think it'll be opponent specific. A starter nominally in this league, especially on the defensive side of the ball where there are so many moving parts, especially with Mike Pettin as your defensive coordinator, I think he'll play a certain number of snaps. I think Smith and Smith will still be your starters strictly at outside linebacker, but these guys move around so much. There'll be so many different kind of rotations at outside linebacker, especially when Za'Darius is kicking inside on passing downs. I think Gary will play probably a more prominent role than maybe I expected after they drafted him, but I still think they'll bring him along. I don't think he's going to suddenly play like 70 snaps or something right out of the gate. But he did have another really solid day against the Texans today. He made Khalil look silly. Matt Matub, what's up? Congrats on getting super chat from your favorite troll. Matub, you aren't even beginning to approach troll level. You are a true friend of Cheesehead TV, and I thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Spriggs on the 53. It's hard to say with any kind of certainty at this point, but the longer he is out, the more they work other guys at tackle, the harder it is to see a path to the 53 for him, given everything they know about him already. I mean, clearly, they're very familiar with the player. They know his limitations, of which there are many. But that doesn't mean he's done. No, he's still, there's still a lot of preseason left. AM, thanks for the super chat. Thanks so much for checking it out. Why does Preston Smith basically never get mentioned, but Z flashes all the time? Positional difference? Somewhat. You got to remember, a lot of this is predicated on getting Za'Darius in favorable matchups in certain looks, situations. But don't get it twisted. Just because he's not making maybe big-time plays that are being tweeted about doesn't mean he's not playing well. He most certainly is. And if you focus in on him specifically, you can see him setting the edge. You can see him winning his one-on-ones. It's just that in a practice environment where you're not allowed to tackle the ball carrier, you're not allowed to bring guys to the ground, you're certainly not allowed to breathe on the quarterback, you're not going to be flashing as much and being talked about as much. But he is there, and I think he's had a very solid camp. He's just not the level Za'Darius is, and I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. Let's see. Does losing Mike Daniels limit the Packers' ability to use Rashawn Gary's versatility? Tanner, I don't think so because of Tyler Lancaster. Obviously, there are other guys there, whether you're talking about Lowry, whether you're talking about Fadal Brown, if he can ever get back on the field. Or, you look at some of the Montravius Adams, etc. They have a lot of pieces there. But to me, Tyler Lancaster allows them to do everything they wanted to do with Mike Daniels. And I think, you look at Lancaster, kind of a similar player in the sense that he uses leverage really well, gets low, has that kind of wrestler background. And I'm not saying, not even close, that he's the same player Mike Daniels was even last year, let alone in his prime. but I think he allows them, to your point, to do the types of things along the defensive front that they would do with Daniels, but obviously they save a lot of money by using Lancaster. Let's see what we got. Mike Witt, thanks for the super chat. What up, Nags? How did Zadarius look today? He looked like his dominating self. At one point, he embarrassed Khalil, the Texans tackle, so badly that it started a melee. I'm not going to call it a fight, but there were some swings, and somebody, we were talking about it afterwards. We were not sure who it was, but somebody from the Packers secondary jumped on top of this pile and came in like a haymaker. It was good times, but it was because Zadarius just owned Khalil. Thoughts on Jimmy Graham versus Rob Domofsky. What's so funny is it's funny to me that Jimmy certainly seems to have it out for Rob. Rob has literally asked him 2 questions on the beat, and now Jimmy has pegged him as the negative guy. This is kind of funny. Israel, thank you so much for the super chat. I love everything you guys do. Thank you very much. We're here for you guys. When did Josh Jackson even get hurt, in all caps, and why is it taking so long for him to practice? Well, undoubtedly he got hurt prior to camp because he was on the non-football injury list, which indicates that he hurt himself outside of football, outside of the purview of the team. And it's taking so long because that's how long it's taking. Man, that's football. And you have one of, if not the most conservative medical staff in the league overseeing that process. Hey, Nags, how do you find the quality of the depth on the D-line? You rock. Thank you so much. It's fine. I'm a Mike Daniels guy, so I was not a fan of that move. And I think you have certainly kind of diminished the talent overall. But I still think there are a lot of really promising parts. My question is can Tyler Lancaster keep ascending? Or have we seen what we're going to see from him, and which is, no small thing. He played well last year, but can he continue to improve and develop? That's a question mark for me. And Dean Lowry, I think obviously they paid him. They're gonna have him around for a while. But he's not a flash guy. He's not a big play guy. He's a guy, lunch pail, is going to do his job down in and down out. Certainly an important piece, but not a difference maker. To me, it's all about Kenny Clark. Obviously, he's the one who is the kind of anchor there, the one who's going to make everything go and makes this unit, the entire defensive unit, the ability to do a lot of different things and to really dominate up front and control the line of scrimmage, which, as you guys know, is where games are won and lost. Welcome to the green and gold Clara. What is that? Are they pumping up Monty Adams purposely? That's a good question. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I thought Mike Pettin's answer was genuine when he was asked about, guys who had made the jump or whatever. And he offered up of his own volition. He said he didn't like Adams when he first got to Green Bay. And he said that Adams had really turned things around. So I believe that answer was genuine. Now, obviously, that gets blown up in the media to a thing. But I believe Pettin. I don't think he's blowing smoke up anybody's butt there. Look at all you guys. Do you think, WJax99, thank you for the super chat. Do you think, will Gary play a lot on Thursday? I don't know about a lot. I think you'll definitely see him a bit early on, but I think you're going to see a lot of third and fourth stringers on Thursday night. First preseason game. That's just the way it goes. What did the radio guy mean? You and Cheesehead TV, like he just now realized y'all aren't certified. Do you mean credentialed? It's a fun web we weave here at Cheesehead TV. We, Cheesehead TV, the entity, are not credentialed to enter that building. However, because of our work with iHeartRadio, through iHeartRadio, have credentials. It's all very mysterious how they choose to go about their world over there. Jordy going to play on Thursday. Nice. Who knows? He was out there today. As a spectator, people don't get it twisted. Do you foresee the defense going to their turbo package more often? Tanner, if you mean by turbo, if you mean getting 4 pass rushers on the field at once, I think they could go there, sporadically. I don't think it's ever going to be a mainstay of what they like to do. I do think you'll see that on obvious passing downs where they kick Zadarius and Gary inside, and then maybe they have Preston and Fackrell on the outside. Reggie Gilbert might get into that mix eventually, but I do think you'll see it. I don't ever think that'll be a staple, so to speak. Let's see what else we got. Is Pettin undervalued being Matt LaFleur's guy right here? I don't really know what you mean, but I don't think Pettin's undervalued. We know Vitale can catch, but how is his blocking? If Lewis left out of the tight ends, is he a good blocking option? Sergio, I think he's good enough. I don't think he's ever going to be a complete road grader. He's not a Mike Allstott or anything, but Allstott himself was a pretty good receiver out of the backfield. Probably underrated in that regard. But yeah, I think he can get the job done. That was one of the question marks I had. I clearly didn't realize how much they were going to be utilizing his receiving skills this summer when I said I thought they'd move on from him. Because of the blocking was pretty, I don't know. I'm not even going to say subpar. I think it was inconsistent last year under McCarthy. But clearly this offense, he's asked to do a whole lot. He's asked to utilize a whole different skill set. I think he will block on occasion, but I don't think that would be his main wheelhouse. Mike Witt, thanks again for the super chat. How did Dexter Williams look the last 2 days? Well, he's been splitting time with Vitale. That's what's crazy is Vitale. They've been down so many backs. Aaron Jones remains out. Jamal Williams is still out. And then Trey Carson joined them today. So he had Vitale as the first. When they went to single back stuff, Vitale was taking the first reps, and then Dexter was spelling him. And Dexter looked good. I thought he looked good yesterday and today. I asked LaFleur about him yesterday afternoon, and he's really encouraged by his ability in the zone scheme. Clearly still stuff to work on in pass protection. That's to be expected from a rookie back. But he really does seem like a scheme fit. And I know a lot was talked about after the draft in that regard. And you always kind of take that with a grain of salt because who knows how it'll actually play out once they get on the field, get those pads on, go against NFL-level competition. But none of it has seemed too big for him, and that's definitely encouraging. You guys got a ton of questions here today. Is there any correlation between teams that have joint practices and their success in the regular season? It's a good question, Johnny. I'm sure somebody has crunched the numbers in there and came up with yes. But LaFleur was asked about it after practice today, and he indicated he'd like to do it again next year, not only once, but maybe even twice. The Patriots have done that. The Texans are actually doing that. They host Detroit next week. So that's not unprecedented. It is a stark contrast from the vibe you got from Aaron Rodgers today, though. Aaron certainly sounded like he didn't want any part of another joint practice, but it sure sounds like he better get used to them because LaFleur seemed to love it. Does the team look better than they did last year in camp? Impossible to tell. I mean, the offense doesn't look as good because, they haven't run it for 10 years. The defense looks worlds better. And I didn't think the defense looked terrible last summer, but holy cow, it is night and day. It is Dorothy landing in Oz, going from black and white to color. The defense is legit. You always do wonder how much of that is you're going against your own guys, etc. Well, they just had the Texans in here for 2 days, and while schemes were limited and they didn't really show a lot on either side of the ball, I tell you what, the Packers defense against a team that went to the playoffs last year, won their division. They not only went toe-to-toe, they pretty much shut down the Texans' number 1-0. They got their plays in. Of course, they're going to. It's the NFL. But for the most part, the Packers defense was completely in control for these last 2 days. That's definitely promising. What position group has the hardest cuts to make? Johnny, to me, it's the wide receiver group. We've talked a lot about the secondary, maybe outside linebacker, etc., maybe backup offensive line. But at wide receiver, there's so many different ways it could go. And so many guys making cases day in and day out, making plays, contributing on special teams, which a lot of these guys are going to have to do if they want to make the 53. It's just every day somebody rises up, somebody falls down. It's obviously a marathon and not a sprint. But early on, it's hard to see where exactly the demarcation line is because every single guy that you've seen, and I'm not talking just, I know people will glom on to like EQ and MVS, etc. I'm talking like Shepard has made a case. Trevor Davis was making a case prior to getting injured yesterday. Every one of these guys are out there like making plays. Jamal Moore's had a really good camp. So do you keep Coomer off because you drafted Jamal Moore? I wouldn't, but I don't have to make that decision. But they do, and it's going to be a tough one. Porkmaster is bad. Oh my gosh, all these. Let me see. Hold on, I missed Mike Witt. Mike Witt, another one. Last one. Will there be a post-game show Thursday? No, there will not be. I'll probably do a chat, though. Some extra cheese. Porkmaster, Can we have a decent running game without our top 2 running backs? I believe so. Most of this is predicated on the offensive line. As long as the offensive line is together, I think they'll be okay. That's not to say you know, I know the old running back argument has been raging on Twitter all this camp long, and not just here, NFL-wide, how much they matter, so to speak. But I will say, you throw in Dexter Williams and Vitale, they can get going. They got the holes, they got the creases, and they got the ability. And then plus, you get that. Once you get that going, then you can leak Vitale out, use his receiving ability. I have very few concerns. Now, Corey Linsley has missed the last 2 days, and they've been up and down in regards to getting, movement along the offensive line. Some of that is because they haven't had their starter there at center. But I think for me, it's much more about those 5 guys. If they get those 5 guys going, they can work with what they have. Zero question. Derek, thank you for the super chat. Agree with LaFleur, offense energy is a big issue. It's interesting, isn't it? He did say after practice today that he's disappointed with the lack of urgency and effort on the offensive side of the ball. And he says after the snap of the ball, he's fine. He's talking about, in the huddle, getting out of the huddle, getting up to the line of scrimmage, doing the pre-snap stuff, staying focused, and getting off the ball. And we've been here 3 weeks now, and he's still talking about the same stuff. And he always ends this kind of consternation with, and it starts with the coaching. Yeah, Matt, it does. And 3 weeks later, they're still doing the same kind of stuff, and you're still getting up here and talking about how disappointed you are. Well, at some point, maybe it's time to change something, some kind of approach, because right now, nothing's changed. The approach hasn't changed. Vibe is the same. Guys are making the same kind of mistakes. Jimmy Graham had a bad false start today. They couldn't do anything against the Texans' defense all day long, and then they finally get a gain down the field, and it gets called back because they had, illegal formation. It's just the stuff that kills you. So, yeah, Matt, it does start with the head coach, and at some point, maybe it's time to change something up because sticking with the program for 3 weeks certainly hasn't yielded results. Let's see. And, to that point, something we were talking about with Corey Linsley being out, Lucas Patrick worked at center today. And I wanted to give him a shout-out because I thought he did some really good work. Aaron Rodgers called him a dirtbag today at his locker in the kindest possible way. He said he knew Lucas would know that was a compliment. But you can see what he's talking about because Patrick was in there mixing it up with the Texans and just throwing guys around. And, he certainly looks the part. He's not the most athletically gifted, but he is going to give you everything he's got. And he did, I thought, good work today. And LaFleur indicated as well yesterday from the tape when he and Justin McCray were splitting reps that he liked what he saw. But as far as the work they were doing, a lot of what they did today was down in the red zone, especially early on in practice. And the Packers offense could not do anything. I mean, anything they tried, everything they tried got shut down. And, LaFleur and Rodgers both kind of played it off. Rodgers a little less convincingly. He's clearly frustrated. But, it was a tough day for the offense. No question about it. Lackadaisical practice is a very bad sign. Mick, it's not lackadaisical. They're not, to quote, what's the movie? You lollygag around the infield. You lollygag. It's not that. They're not, what do you call that? Lollygagger, sir. No, they're not. They're not lackadaisical. It's just there's a little bit of frenetic energy that needs focusing. To me, that's what it's about. But they're running from drill to drill. The energy is up. The practice is moving at a crisp pace. It's not lackadaisical. They're not lazy. It's just there needs to be a focus. Right now, they are lacking focus. We know Billy Turner is large. How is he looking skill-wise? He's looking excellent. I tell you what, he may not be the best guard in the league, but he is worlds better than everything we saw last year at right guard. He is an instant upgrade. Again, I'm not sitting here saying he's going to make a Pro Bowl, but it's nice to be able to operate on offense without constant worry that your interior is going to fall apart. And that's what Turner is definitely giving them at this moment. Bull Durham, Mike. Yes, thank you. That's Bull Durham. I couldn't remember if it was that or the natural or if it was Major League. But, yes, Bull Durham. Thank you. A lot of the ones on offense still going to be out there with Kaiser Thursday. Jason, that's a really good question. I wish I had a better answer for you. LaFleur, he stopped short of just giving us a replay of Mike McCarthy saying, I haven't done playtime yet. But pretty much they haven't done playtime yet. So I don't think they even know how many guys are going to be up on Thursday night. You also have to remember that it was against the Texans. They know how to shut down Matt LaFleur's game plan. I'm a bit worried, though. Go Pack, go. Oh, it's way, way, way too early to be worried about anything. Come on. And as far as shutting down Matt LaFleur's game plan, it was so vanilla. It was just much more about execution. And Texans, they've been in this program for a long time. They've had the same coordinator on the defensive side for a couple of years now. So they're a much more in-tune machine. That's just the nature of the beast. And the Packers are installing and learning a new offense. So that you kind of expected this to happen. But you hope to see a little bit more, but it's not surprising at all. Devin Zahn here getting all mad that I missed his comment. I mean, I've only got hundreds to sort through, Devin, but hey, man, you cry about it. It's good. Will the Packers select Fromm in the 2020 NFL Draft? I don't know about that, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them take a quarterback. Mike Witt. Kiki is going to be this year's preseason surprise. There's a very good possibility. He has done nothing to suggest that he won't be a contributor this year. It's hard to say with any kind of certainty, only because, and that's why I don't really generally bring him up yet when I'm talking about the defensive line rotation, because we haven't seen a whole lot of him against ones at all. We've seen him in drill work and in one-on-ones against some of the top guys, but in team, he's done nothing but second and third strings. So while promising, you do wonder how much of that is going to disappear once he starts facing top competition. But the early returns are incredibly promising. All right, everybody, I'm going to jump, but I want to thank you guys for making us part of your Packers routine. And, hey, if you want to watch the game on Thursday night in-house, in the house here at Lambeau Field, all you got to do is go to cheeseheadtv.com, find the link to Ticket King. They're physically located right across from Lambeau Field, but you go to Ticket King at cheeseheadtv.com. You can find tickets not only to the preseason games, the regular season games, both home and away. And, hey, if they're lucky enough to make the postseason, you can get those tickets too. Ticket King's got all your Packer ticket needs taken care of, and for a limited time, in fact, until Saturday night at midnight, I believe. If you use the code PAC2019, capital P, PAC2019, you can get 10% off your order. So hurry up. You get 10% off the excitement of Kaiser versus the Texans. You want to get on that. Seriously, though, find Ticket King at cheeseheadtv.com if you're interested in getting Green Bay Packers tickets. Thanks so much, everybody. Make sure you check our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, retweet us, as the kids say. Instagram. We're on Instagram. Hell, you know what else? We're on TikTok. That's right. We're on TikTok. Check it out. We try to be on every single platform that you guys are on because we're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. And if you like what we do at all, please consider supporting our Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. $5 a month supports everything we do. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.